Hey, welcome in on a random Thursday night. We typically do this on Fridays and Saturdays, but we are going to do a little conference championship preview right here on a Thursday night because we are going to be heading to Atlanta tomorrow to cover the SEC championship game and do some interviews over at SEC Fanfare. So looking forward to that. But hopefully some of you guys will jump on tonight if you want to get into this a little bit and talk about these conference championship games and a really, really massive game with a lot of implications in the NFL tonight in the NFC with Detroit hosting the Dallas Cowboys. If you are just jumping on here, we have a 7-star, which is a really, really big play for us tonight on the side on that game. So we'll get into that game a little bit. We will get into the 9 conference championship games coming up this weekend, which begin tomorrow night. 5 of those games, major implications in the college football playoff and what that's going to look like on Sunday when the committee releases their rankings, their final rankings, which should be fascinating. And I do have a big-time future gambling play for you guys. Big-time future coming up. I just played it myself, and I'm going to give that to you guys in just a little bit after we talk about some of these games and do with it what you want. But I will explain and kind of give you my theory on this and why I think it's a really, really good future play. So jump on board. If you guys have any questions, comments throughout, let me know. I don't know how long we're going to be on here. Again, it's what are we looking at? 5:25 again. We're late jumping on here, but 5:25 on a Thursday. I know a lot of people coming back from work, and this is kind of impromptu. But I did want to get on here to talk about some of these conference championship games, to talk about the NFL a little bit, and to let you guys know future that I really, really like. Couple of things. I wanted to go through some numbers just for anybody that's just jumping on and you're not familiar with what we do here at Lance'sLock.com. We are 55% throughout the college football season this year, which is really good. 55% sounds like I'm throwing darts. It's really not. If you wager, 55% is a really, really good percentage. Even better in the NFL, we are at 62%. We are crushing it. Again, we've got a 7-star up and available tonight. And so far in college hoops, we've only played 50 games, 29 and 21. We are at 58% right there. So we are winning. And we have got plays up and available right now. You get a free play every single day at Lance'sLock.com. And they're, a free play every single day right there. We typically do these shows on Friday, Saturday mornings. Don't know if we're going to be able to do either. I'm going to try my best to do a Saturday morning show. We had really good turnout for last Saturday's show as we went into the final regular season Saturday of the college football season. But conference championship Saturday is going to be big. We've got some big plays we've already circled up. We will have, obviously, championship games available tomorrow, sides and totals in the same on Saturday. 9 total conference championship games. But with those games going off, we're going to be over my guys from the next round, me and Dunaway and Brown. We're going to be at SEC Fanfare on Saturday morning. I think the time is 10:30 to 12:30 Eastern, 9:30, 11:30 Central. I'm almost positive on that. We're going to be interviewing some of the legends over there at SEC Fanfare. I didn't do it last year. Dunaway and Brown were over there. I forgot where I was last year. I was somewhere, though, but it wasn't in Atlanta for that. But I will tell you some of the names, really, really massive names, are going to be over there for SEC Fanfare on Saturday morning. And Ludacris is going to be performing. I can't imagine a Ludacris performance at like 11 in the morning Saturday. That's what you're going to get. And again, if you've been to the SEC championship game before, a lot of Alabama, Georgia flavor. It used to be a lot of Alabama, Florida flavor. It's not what it once was. And I wasn't there last year for Texas and Georgia. And, I was told from some it didn't have the same buzz it had had in the past. It ended up being a great game where Georgia won it with Gunnar Stockton coming in for Carson Beck, who got hurt at halftime on that final play. So it was a really entertaining game, but the implications aren't what the implications once were. Now, that's different when we're talking about the Big 12 and the ACC. But in the SEC, there is obviously something to play for. Kirby Smart is 1-7 against Alabama. Alabama playing to make sure they take everything out of the hands of the committee and the opportunity to earn a bye. Worst case, they win this game, they will host a home game in Tuscaloosa for the first round. I think, and my guys agree with me on the next round, that you win this game, you're going to get a bye. If you're the regular season, technically SEC champion, and you win the SEC championship game, I don't know how the committee could not make Alabama a top 4 seed and give them a bye. Some of the names we'll be talking to on Saturday morning: Connor Shaw. We all remember the scrappy South Carolina quarterback. It gets better, by the way. CJ Mosley, obviously an Alabama legend. Jordan Matthews, such a good receiver for Vanderbilt. Kevin Burnett, really good linebacker for the Tennessee Volunteers. And the headliners here, R.C. Slocum. That's going to be interesting. I have not seen or heard of R.C. Slocum in years, but he was the guy that had his fingerprints originally on Texas A&M football. It seems like from when I first started watching college football, R.C. Slocum was that guy that would win 9 or 10 games every year, but back before college football playoff. And what we've got going on here, I'm sure R.C. Slocum would have found himself in a college football playoff at some particular time. But the big draws, Tyrann Mathieu, can't wait to talk to the Honey Badger, and then Cam Newton, which is one of the greatest players we have ever seen in college football. So just some of the guys we're going to be talking to on Saturday morning. So with that, I don't know if we're really going to have a lot of time to do one of these shows on Saturday. So I wanted to jump on here. I know the numbers aren't going to be very good, at least live, but hopefully a lot of you guys can go back and watch on demand right here. I think we're up on YouTube and X right now at Lance's Lock. We would appreciate like, subscribe, jump on board. And if you are wagering and you want a little guidance, we do have a big play tonight, and we will be on all these conference championship games where, again, we've had just an overall, not necessarily it might end up being our best season in the NFL, but the whole scope of the NFL and college football season together, I think we are having our best collective season up until this point. We've been doing this 12 years. Best college football season, probably, we still have an opportunity for that, was probably in 2016 where it was lights out. But it's been really, really good up until this point, and we will continue to win for you guys out there. Again, I'm going to get to a big future gambling tip, which will come up this weekend. I think you guys might be a little interested to hear about this. There are a lot of people that disagree with this, but I'm all about it. I've already put mine in. I maxed out at where I play, and I don't play a lot, but I really, really feel good. I don't know if I feel how about this? I think it is a lot of value, and it makes a lot of sense. And I will lay out that scenario before we jump off here. So if you guys have any questions or comments on these championship games, let me know. Coaching search, NFL, again, big game tonight in Detroit between the Lions and the Cowboys. Could be an elimination game. We had on our man Dan Orlovsky, who breaks down games as well as anybody in the NFL from ESPN. And he virtually said the same thing. Look, this is an elimination game, especially with the Cowboys. When you start looking at all the scenarios out there, the tiebreakers, like mathematically, it would be almost impossible for the Cowboys to be able to get into this. And I think at this particular point, both the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell and obviously Schottenheimer and the Cowboys know they've got to win these games, and really they've got to win out when you really look at how good the NFC and how deep the NFC is. I mean, for the San Francisco 49ers to be 9-4 and be your 7th seed, the last team in right now, was absolutely incredible. So it's just not a lot of times you get early December NFL games with so much left in the season. I mean, 5 full weeks left for there to be such implications on, teams really ending their season. We've already got a lot of teams that are eliminated, but that's how good the NFC is. And the AFC is just so cluttered and really so balanced right now. That's what makes that a little intriguing. But great games throughout the NFL. And again, we've got 9 conference championship games headlined by the Big Ten on Saturday night in Indianapolis. But really, outside of, for Indiana, to me, a really true barometer where last year in Columbus, they led 7-0 after one. They were down 14-7 at half. But special teams got to them. The moment was way too big. They are tried and proven now. I mean, Kirk Cignetti, what he's done, I already consider him a top 6, 7, 8 coach. If you wanted to put him higher, I got no problem with that, because you go from JMU, first year at Indiana where they never win anything, a school record 11 wins. Everybody was like, well, it was schedule, and they obviously didn't play anybody. It was kind of fluke, lightning in the bottle, however you want to lay that out. Well, what do they follow it up with? A school record again, 12-0, a perfect season. And in that 12-0, You beat the holy hell out of Illinois. You go to Iowa, you win that game. And more importantly, you go to Oregon, a top 5 team or borderline top 5 team, and you win by double digits and physically manhandle the Oregon Ducks on the road, a place they don't lose games. I think they've won like 23 of their last 24 there. So I think they believe they can win, but this is the barometer. If you go into Indianapolis on Saturday night, is now a 4.5-point dog, and you win that game, you're the number 1 overall seed. You've got your first outright Big Ten championship ever, and your first, shared championship in the Big Ten since 1967. So from that regard, it does have major implications. Ohio State loses this. They're still, 12-1. They're still going to have a top 4 seed. They get the bye, and they're still going to be your favorite. Doesn't matter win or lose to win back-to-back national championships. So there are some implications. I think it's more internal for Indiana. And for me, just watching this, I am fascinated if Indiana is to go out there with what Cignetti has put together with Mendoza. And, that's another storyline. Mendoza and say it. More than likely, whoever wins this game and one of those guys, plays lights out, they're going to win the Heisman Trophy. So that's another thing to look at. But more importantly, like the barometer for Indiana, do we belong? Are we the best team in college football? We shall see. I've talked to a lot of people that believe they can't hang with Ohio State, but we shall see. Jay Barker, expert pickers, all taking Indiana. I'm feeling a Buckeye boat race. I don't know. The thing is, you look at Julian Sayin, he has been incredible. He leads the FBS and QBR right now. Jeremiah Smith, 26 receiving touchdowns since the beginning of his freshman year. You look at the defense, they've got 3 to 4 first-round guys on that defense led by Caleb Downs. Ohio State is the real deal, but this Indiana team is better than the Indiana team last year. Could be scheduled again, according to Jay, 1 test at Oregon. I do think at Iowa, and look, by no means am I saying that Iowa's a world beater. I would say Iowa is not middle of the pack SEC, kind of towards the bottom of the middle of the pack of the SEC. I mean, Iowa is Auburn with a better record, but going to Jordan-Hare and winning a game is difficult to do. Indiana did that. Again, I'm not going to hang a lot on that. What they did to Illinois was very, very impressive. I mean, that was just, you talk about a boat race. So I do think this Indiana team is better than the Indiana team last year that got to the postseason, really wasn't ultra competitive once they got there against Notre Dame. But I think this could play out a little differently. But Jay, you could be completely right. We shall see. But I do have bigger expectations for this Indiana team. Alabama, Georgia, though. For Alabama fans out there, I don't know if you fear being left out of this college football playoff. You were the last team that didn't get in last year, SMU, with that second half. And that's one thing that you got to really look at, though. Like, this committee obviously values how these conference championship games play out, because at halftime of that game, I was getting texts and I was texting people, and the conversation was the same. Damn, Alabama is actually going to sneak into this. SMU is getting the shit whipped out of them right now. And if this holds up, they're going to lose their auto bid, all this equity they built up over the season. And Alabama, the committee, is just going to say they've got a better opportunity to advance. I think that they believe that anyway. But with SMU coming back and making that really tight game, it ultimately got them in the college football playoff last year. So I think Alabama fans, the hesitation, the nervousness is based on the fact that the committee did watch that game last year. And if there was a situation where Georgia was to blow Alabama out, could get a little dicey. I don't see that happening right now. Georgia, 2.5-point favorite. And again, I mean, there's the facts of the facts. When you start to look at this, Alabama against Georgia in the SEC championship game in Atlanta, 4-0 all-time, winning in 2012, winning in 2018, 21, and 23. Alabama, these are well-documented numbers. You guys know this. They've won 10 of their last 11 against Georgia. Kirby 1-7 against Alabama. This is one of the more incredible stats out there. Kirby Smart is 24-10 against top 10 teams. That's an incredible number. One of the reasons James Franklin was fired midseason is he couldn't beat not only top 10 teams, top 25 teams, but Kirby 24-10 against top 10s. If you take out his Alabama losses, he's 24-4 against top 10s. I mean, against Alabama, again, he is 1-7 against anybody. Well, it's since 2020. So if we we push this down and we do a composite of 2020 to where we are in 2025. Kirby Smart is 71-3 against anyone not named Alabama and 1-5 against Alabama. When people say he has an Alabama problem, it's legitimate. I mean, that is the kryptonite right now for Kirby. He has dominated everywhere else. So if you're an Alabama fan, you got to love that. And the fact that Kalen DeBoer, in his short tenure as an FBS coach, not an FBS coach, a Power 4 coach, from his 2 years at Washington to his second year now at Alabama, 8 top 10 matchups, 7-1 of those matchups. The only loss, the 2023 national championship game to Michigan. So Kalen knows how to coach in these games. A couple of little sidebars. For Georgia, offensive line is banged up. Alabama's got injuries. Jam Miller, Josh Cuevas, LT Overton. There's some big injuries there. But everybody's scratching their head, what is going on with Ryan Williams? And I think it's interesting based on this. Zachariah Branch, and I've got an SC hat on right here. When he was a true freshman at SC, first month of that season, he was electric. And then it's like Lincoln Riley kind of lost how to use him. And ultimately, he gets a little disgruntled and he transfers out after his sophomore year. He ends up in Athens. He's got 68 grabs this year quietly. Nobody really talks about Zachariah Branch. He is only 8 receptions away from Georgia's all-time season record, which is pretty incredible. And that was, don't really remember Bryce Hunter back in 1993. I think that was with Eric Zier, but that is the guy that has got the season single season record for receptions for Georgia. But Zachariah Branch kind of reminds me, or Ryan Williams kind of reminds me, and this is my point I was getting to, kind of reminds me of what's going on with Ryan Williams early on in the career, so electric, so highly regarded coming out of high school and looked like a guy that could just do absolutely everything. And then it's like, I don't know really what's going on. Can't really put a finger on it. Is it Ryan Williams isn't happy with how he's being targeted right now? Is he a little banged up? Is he just off the page right now with Ryan Grubb? But something's got to give. 100-yard game this year for Ryan Williams. And we remember how special he was with 177 at the touchdown last year in Tuscaloosa against the Georgia Bulldogs. So I think that is going to be interesting to see what Ryan Williams, if he is a factor in this game. And he's going to need to step it up because with Cuevas out, with Jam Miller out, you need more playmakers in this offense. All-time Georgia is 8-5 at Mercedes-Benz. 4 of those 5 losses, you guessed it, have come to Alabama. But this is a very, very interesting game for the simple fact that if I'm Kirby, I'm trying to boat race Alabama. Not that I believe he can do that because I don't want to see Alabama again because obviously he's got the Alabama problem. He also wants to kind of get that out of the way. You know, it was so not overplayed. I mean, it was what it was. Nick Saban went like 21 or 22 straight games without an assistant ever beating him until Jimbo Fisher finally did it. I think it was in 2021, that game that night in College Station. And that was a stat that we talked about week in and week out when he would face a former assistant. Kirby, every time he plays Alabama, he's got to hear about this Alabama problem that he's got. But it is legitimate. So I do think Kirby wants to put that in the rear view and wants to give this Georgia team a lot of confidence going into the playoffs. They were playing outside of Indiana and Ohio State as well as anyone in college football until they played Georgia Tech in this same building this past Friday. And the offense was stagnant. I know the offensive line was not whole. But Gunnar Stockton, maybe his worst game as a Georgia Bulldog this past week, but they still got the win. But if he plays like that against Alabama, I really, really like Alabama in this game. We will have a play on that game. We're working on totals as well. Here's one thing I'm going to get to before we get out of here. Again, just to recap, 55% on the year in college football, 62% in the NFL. We've got a 7-star tonight on the Cowboys and the Lions. That is available right now at lanceslock.com. We've also got college hoops up and available. We're 29-21, 58% clip to start the college hoops season right there. Jump on board, win with us. 9 conference championship games starting up tomorrow, 5 with major implications. Here's what I wanted to talk to you guys about on a future bet. And share this with whoever you want. And most people are going to disagree with this, but I really like it the more I take a look at this game or these games that are going to have these implications. So most people believe, and if you look at the Vegas odds, and I'm going to pull these specifically where I have got them at my fingertips because I did just play this about 30 minutes ago. You know, it was one of the reasons I was late jumping on here because I was trying to factor a couple of things into this. if you look at future teams to make the college football playoff, and this is good news for Alabama. And again, just bear with me real quick. I should have had this pulled before. So Alabama to reach the college football playoff, yes is minus over 15, almost 1,600. No is plus 920. Alabama is locked into this thing. They are locked into it. Here's where it gets interesting to me. Notre Dame to make this, yes, minus 340, no plus 260. I would tell you, and you guys know this, is guys that like to wager. Those are pretty solid numbers. That seems like Notre Dame is squarely in. I dropped down to Miami, and here's what we're getting to. Miami to not make the college football playoff is minus 600. To make it is plus 410. That is the number I just grabbed, because the more I think about this, if BYU wins, the committee is going to go the easy route. I don't care if it's Duke. Duke's going to get in. ACC champion is in. Group 5 is in. That winner of North Texas and Tulane, they're in, and they are going to leave both Miami and Notre Dame out. Alabama is in. Where it gets interesting is if BYU wins. If BYU loses. BYU wins, both Miami and Notre Dame are out because BYU's in, Texas Tech's in. BYU loses, then it's going to come down to those two. Because they have closed the gap, and you have got BYU at 11, sandwiched between number 10 Notre Dame and number 12 Miami. BYU is going to bounce back. Those two are going to hit, and the committee, there is not a chance in hell, in my opinion. Again, they can do what they want, and I do believe Notre Dame is the better team right now. But after 72 hours in a room together, and they're talking about this, there is no way they're going to be able to explain basically like resumes where you had a head-to-head where Miami beat Notre Dame. Same records, same resumes basically, and Miami beat them head-to-head. So I believe grabbing Miami at plus 410, do it. I just did it. I maxed out on it. I'm getting plus 410 on this. I think it's a great return. I could be completely wrong. The committee could shock us all. None of this will matter if BYU wins. But what I would tell you, if you really like Texas Tech in that matchup, instead of laying 12.5 with Texas Tech in the rematch, why not play Miami plus 410 just to get in? Because if Texas Tech wins this game, I really believe Notre Dame is out, Miami is in. We'll see how that thing plays out, but I'm sticking with it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to be hyping it up to a lot of people that I talk to on this, and I am going to ride with that. We'll see what the committee does. Vegas disagrees with me. They know a lot more than I do. Those numbers are massive right now, but I just don't know with good conscience how Hunter Yurachek and the rest of that committee can sit down. And again, 10-2, very, very similar resumes, and Miami has already beat them. That happens, Notre Dame gets in, Miami's out, then I just don't, head-to-head means nothing ever moving forward. So that is my little piece of advice. I am taking Miami plus 410 to make the college football playoff. I've already done it. That's just a free play for you guys. Speaking of free plays, there's one available right now, lanceslike.com. With that 7-star is also available. You can get that tonight between the Cowboys and Lions. I'm going to dive out of here. Appreciate you guys. I know it was small numbers, only 43 of you guys watching live. Hopefully more people will consume it on demand. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Tell us how we can do this better. But hopefully I gave you guys a winner right there. And I don't know how many people are affiliated with either Notre Dame or Miami if you're pulling for one or the other. I personally believe Notre Dame is good enough to make a deep, deep, deep run in the college football playoff. Miami, not so much. I don't trust Cristobal. I don't know if I trust Carson Beck, really. I just don't think they can string together 2 or 3 big wins. I could see them win a game. They've got that much talent. Malachi Tony is one of the best freshmen I've ever seen. I think he is absolute stud. But I just don't think Miami, the whole product, I just don't think they're going to be able to make any noise in the college football playoff. But I think they're going to get there. So, like, if I'm just lining it up, eye test, better team is Notre Dame. More deserving team with the same resume is Miami. Got to give them the head-to-head lean. We'll see what happens there. But you guys have a great Thursday night. I can't believe we're already here. Conference championship games. I'll give you guys an update on X, whether or not we're going to be able to jump on live tomorrow. Hopefully we will for a couple of minutes. We're going to be in Atlanta again. If you're just jumping on tomorrow afternoon after the show, getting ready for SEC Fanfare, where we're going to interview some of the legends, the SEC legends, on Saturday morning. And then we're going to be going over to the game between Alabama and Georgia. Like, we've never seen that one before. But I am somewhat excited about it. It's always a great atmosphere. And we'll see what happens over in Atlanta. But you guys, look, have a great Thursday night. Good luck. Let's win. Jump on that Miami plus 410. And thank you later. Talk to you guys soon.